U.S. President Donald Trump says he will impose sanctions on Russia if it fails to make a peace settlement in Ukraine within 2 weeks. The warning comes after the recent meeting between Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska. After that meeting, both Kyiv and Washington expressed hope for an end to the war. For more on this, we're going to bring in the CBC's Briar Stewart, who joins us now from Kyiv. Briar, Zelenskyy says the only way to negotiate an end to this war is for a face-to-face meeting with Putin, but he also claims Russia's doing everything it can to prevent that meeting. So where do things stand?
Well, there doesn't really seem to be a lot of progress when it comes to the peace talks themselves. That proposal for a meeting between Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy and Russia's President Vladimir Putin was also a proposal that the U.S. put forward, that Donald Trump specifically put forward. He said he wanted to see that. And I mean, there's no indication that both sides are anywhere close to agreeing. Russia says that it's open to a kind of meeting, but then at the same time, Russian officials outline all the reasons why one can't take place now, including the fact that Russian leaders and Russian officials continue to attack Zelenskyy and criticize his legitimacy. Now, despite the fact that there's little progress around the peace talks themselves, there's a lot of side conversations going on. Zelenskyy spoke with the Prime Minister of the Netherlands today on the phone, Dick Schoof. He also spoke with the leader of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, and he talked about how he thought the global South needed to do more to pressure Putin. Now, when it comes to pressuring Putin, U.S. President Donald Trump said he might roll out more sanctions against Russia if in the next 2 weeks it doesn't agree to some kind of summit and there's not more progress. But at the same time, Trump had said this before, and he also mused yesterday when he was in the Oval Office that he could roll out sanctions or tariffs, or he might decide to do nothing at all and simply say that it's not the U.S.'s fight.
And Briar, I understand you've had a chance to speak with some of the people who've been displaced from eastern Ukraine. What are you hearing from them?
Yes, I was at a housing complex a little earlier in Irpin, which is just outside of Kyiv, and the people who were living there have all been displaced from eastern Ukraine. Some have been out of their homes for more than 3 years. Others have moved more recently as the front line has moved and as Russia has started to take a little bit more territory. And I think there's a lot of skepticism. People are very exhausted. They really had hoped that there would be some progress with the peace talks because, I mean, there's been so many discussions going on, but people really just don't see how there can be a negotiated solution to this, even though that's what they want to see. I spoke with one woman who has been out of her home in Mariupol, which is of course under Russian control. She's been displaced since April 2022. Here's some of our conversation.
I want this war must be stopped, but these talkings between our President Zelenskyy, and between Putin, maybe with other leaders of other countries, we mustn't give our territories to Russia.
So you heard there about how she doesn't want Ukraine to give up any of its territory to Russia. And of course, you hear that from all Ukrainians. We heard it again today from Ukraine's President Zelenskyy. But this is kind of what's been on the table here. This is what U.S. President Donald Trump has been speaking to Putin about, potentially swapping territories. So both sides are still very part on this. And it's really hard to see just how they can come up with some kind of negotiation that they would both agree to.
Very interesting to hear what's on the minds of those most affected by this conflict. The CBC's Briar Stewart in Kyiv. Thank you.